YAHUAH. And today I will be talking about a warning for pagan festivals, the holidays that the world celebrates, and following the traditions of men. Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 12. Be careful to obey all my commands, so that all will go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and pleasing to YAHUAH, your YAHUAH. When YAHUAH, your YAHUAH, goes ahead of you and destroys the nations, and you drive them out and live in their land, do not fall into the trap of following their customs and worshiping their idols. Do not inquire about their pagan deities, saying, "How do these nations worship their idols? I want to follow their example." You must not worship YAHUAH, your YAHUAH, the way the other nations worship their deities, for they perform to their deities every detestable act that YAHUAH hates. They even burn their sons and daughters as sacrifices to their deities. We've talked about that a few times. Sacrificing your son and daughter to Moloch or other beings. So be careful to obey all the commands I give you. You must not add anything to them or subtract anything from them. YAHUAH, or Jeremiah chapter 10. Hear the debar, or the word, that YAHUAH speaks to you, O Yasharal. This is what YAHUAH debar. Do not act like the other nations, who try to read their future in the stars. Do not be afraid of their predictions, even though other nations are terrified by them. Their ways are futile and foolish. They cut down a tree, and a craftsman carves an idol. They decorate it with gold and silver, and they fasten it securely with a hammer and nails, so it will not fall over. Their idols are like helpless scarecrows in a cucumber field. They cannot speak, and they need to be carried because they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of such idol deities, for they can neither harm you nor do any good. O YAHUAH, there is no one like you, for you are great, and your name is full of power. Who would not fear you, O ruler of nations? That title belongs to you alone. Among all the wise people of the Arath, and in all the kingdoms of the world, there is no one like you. People who worship idols are stupid and foolish. The things they worship are made of wood. They bring beaten sheets of silver from Tarshish and gold from Uphaz. And they give these materials to skillful craftsmen who make their idols. Then they dress these idols in royal blue and purple robes made by expert tailors. But YAHUAH is the only true YAHUAH, and YAHUAH is the living YAHUAH and the everlasting ruler. The whole Arath trembles at the anger of YAHUAH. The nations cannot stand up to the wrath of YAHUAH. And I want to highlight here verses 3 and 4. Verses 3 says, "Their ways are futile and foolish. They cut down a tree, and a craftsman carves an idol. They decorate it with gold and silver, and they fasten it securely with a hammer and nails, so it will not fall over." So they're decorating this tree and fastening it so that it does not fall over. Does that sound like anything to anyone? Of course, here what they're actually talking about, I believe, is Yule. But you guys can you can do your own research on that. There's many songs around that time of year that people are singing worship to a tree. Why are you worshiping a tree? Anyway, let's get back to the scriptures. Mark chapter 7. One day, some Pharisees and teachers of religious law arrived from Jerusalem to see Yahushua. They noticed that some of his Talmudim failed to follow the Yehudim ritual of hand washing before eating. For the Pharisees and all the Yehudim do not eat unless they wash their hands in a special way, holding the tradition of the elders. Similarly, they do not eat anything from the market until they immerse their hands in water. This is just one of many traditions they hold, such as their ceremonial washing of cups, pitchers, and kettles. So the Pharisees and teachers of religious law asked Yahushua, "Why do your Talmudim not follow our age-old tradition? They eat without performing the hand-washing ceremony." And Yahushua said to them, "You hypocrites, Yeshayahu was right when he prophesied about you. For he wrote, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship is a farce, for they teach man-made ideas as commandments from YAHUAH. For you ignore YAHUAH's laws and substitute your own tradition.'" Then Yahushua said, "All too well, you reject the command of YAHUAH, that you may keep your tradition. For instance, Moshe gave you this law from YAHUAH, 'Honor your father and mother,' and anyone who speaks disrespectfully of father or mother must be put to death. But you say, it is all right for people to say to their parents, 'Sorry, I cannot help you, for I have vowed to give to YAHUAH what I would have given to you.' In this way, you let the people disregard their needy parents, and so you cancel the Dabar of YAHUAH in order to hand down your own tradition. And this is only one example among many others. Many others." And Matat YAHUAH, or Matthew chapter 15. This is just reaffirming what we just talked about. Some Pharisees and teachers of religious law arrived from Yerushalayim to see Yahushua. They asked him, "Why do your Talmudim disobey our age-old tradition? For they ignore our tradition of ceremonial hand-washing before they eat." And Yahushua replied, "And why do you, by your traditions, violate the direct commandments of YAHUAH? For instance, YAHUAH Dabar, or said to you, 'Honor your father and mother,' and anyone who speaks disrespectfully of father or mother must be put to death. But you say it is all right for people to say to their parents, 'Sorry, I cannot help you, for I have vowed to give to YAHUAH what I would have given to you.' In this way, you say they do not need to honor their parents, and so you cancel the Dabar of YAHUAH for the sake of your own tradition. You hypocrites, Yeshayahu was right when he prophesied about you, for he wrote, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship is a farce, for they teach man-made ideas as commandments from YAHUAH.'" So all these man-made ideas and traditions are a farce. They honor with their lips, but their hearts are far from YAHUAH. Do not take place. Do not let this stuff have a place in your life. And now Colossians 2. You have died with Hamashiach, and Hamashiach has set you free from the spiritual powers of this world. So why do you keep on following the rules of this world, such as do not handle, do not taste, do not touch? Such rules are mere men's teachings about things that deteriorate as we use them. These things have the appearance of wisdom in promoting self-made religion, humility, and harsh treatment of the body, but they have no value against self-indulgence of the flesh. In 1 Kapha, or Peter, chapter 1. And remember that our Abba, our Father in Shamayim, to whom you pray, has no favorites. YAHUAH will judge or reward you according to what you do. So you must live in reverent fear of YAHUAH during your time here as temporary residents. For you know that YAHUAH paid a ransom to save you from the empty life you inherited from your ancestors. And it was not paid with mere gold or silver, which lose their value. It was with the precious blood of Hamashiach, the sinless, spotless Lamb of YAHUAH. For YAHUAH chose Hamashiach as your ransom long before the world began. But now in these last days, Hamashiach has been revealed for your sake. And 1 Kapha, or Peter, chapter 4. You will not spend the rest of your lives chasing your own desires, but you will be anxious to do the will of YAHUAH. You have had enough in the past of the evil things that unrighteous people enjoy, their immorality and lust their feasting and drunkenness and wild parties, and their terrible worship of idols. Of course, your former friends are surprised when you no longer plunge into the flood of wild and destructive things they do. So they slander you. But remember that they will have to face YAHUAH, who stands ready to judge everyone, both the living and the dead. That is why the Basura, the good news, was preached to those who are now dead. So although they were destined to die like all people, they now live forever with YAHUAH in the Ruach. But the end of all things is at hand. Therefore, be serious and watchful in your prayers. So the end of all things is at hand. You know, we really got to stop taking part in these ridiculous festivals and drunken wild parties. You know, and don't be surprised or upset when your friends that are of the world no longer are no longer your friends. They're gonna wonder why you're not doing this stuff, and when you tell them why, there's a good chance they're gonna laugh at you and make fun of you. So what? So what? You know, as I was gathering scriptures for this part about their feasting and drunkenness and wild parties really stuck out to me. And I was kind of thinking, you know, I wonder if there's a statistic that shows that around the time of these so-called holidays, that more people die due to being drunk and silly. So I went on to Google, and sure enough, as you can see, I Googled, do deaths by alcohol go up around holidays in America? And the answer, yes, deaths involving alcohol spike significantly during holidays in America. This increase is primarily driven by a rise in alcohol-impaired traffic fatalities, which can jump by 10 to over 40%, depending on the specific holiday. And then, of course, they've got these listed, so-called New Year's and Christmas, the deadliest periods. Nearly 40 to 50% of all traffic-related deaths during Christmas and New Year's period involve alcohol-impaired driving. And then, of course, they try to explain it away, you know, blah, 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 blah. Because increased consumption, no, it's because they don't realize that all of these holidays the world gives us all go back to some type of idol worship. They are all about idols. Every single one of them. Stop taking part in this stuff, guys. This is serious. And Titus chapter 1. For there are many rebellious people who engage in useless talk and deceive others. This is especially true of those who insist on circumcision for salvation. Here's another man-made tradition. They must be silenced because they are turning whole families away from the truth by their false teaching, and they do it only for money. Even one of their own men, an Abim, a prophet from Crete, has said about them, the people of Crete are all liars, cruel animals, and lazy gluttons. This is true. So reprimand them sternly to make them strong in the Amunah, or faith. They must stop listening to Yahudah myths and the commands of people who have turned away from the truth. Everything is pure to those who have pure hearts, but nothing is pure to those who are corrupt and unbelieving, because their minds and consciences are corrupted. Such people claim that they know YAHUAH, but they deny him by the way they live. They are detestable and disobedient and worthless for doing anything good. So if you're taking part in this stuff, you are denying YAHUAH. You can sit here and claim that you know YAHUAH, but you are denying him by the way that you live, taking part in these pagan festivals and worshiping idols and in all things that you do. Give thanks to YAHUAH. You know, Toda Rabba YAHUAH Sabaoth Ba Sham.
Toda Rabba YAHUAH. Awesome, Brother Robert. So I was just going back to the statistics that you were talking about. You know, what do they call it? The spirit of Christmas. You know, we wonder why those death tolls are higher and higher and you see it everywhere, every country, you know, around that time. It's because they're invoking a certain ruach into their lives, right? That these things are able to take dominion over that area or wherever they are. And, you know, That's why we're getting so many deaths there.
They call it Black Friday here, the day after so-called Thanksgiving, where you're supposed to be thankful for everything when you should just be thankful every day, no matter what. But they go out and they have all these sales for this pre-Christmas crap, and people get into fist fights and people get killed over a TV. What are you doing? Crazy. What are you doing? Stop it.
These festivals, all these traditions of men, they're wrong. That's why it says men honor Yahuwah with their lips, but their worship is a farce. When they celebrate these traditions, but we are not like that. Our focus in life is to worship Yahuwah. So stop taking part in these festivals. You don't belong to the world. You belong to Yahuwah. Saba'o. Torah Rabba Yahuwah. Saba'o Bahasham Yahushua Mashiach.
Yes, and don't be deceived. You know, a lot of the, like, if you Google that YAHUAH festival, they're going to try to paint it up and make it sound like it's just this nice, oh, they just bring a tree into their house, they're just celebrating the winter solstice or whatever. Stop it. Do not be fooled.
Yeah,
It's
Yahuwah's given us
all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yahuwah's given us the Shabbat. We can celebrate every week. He's also given us every month the new moon that we can celebrate. He's also given us Pesach that we can celebrate. There's so many things that he's given us that we can celebrate, but it's crazy that the Debar shows us exactly what to do, but we just go and celebrate all these other pagan festivals. Let's just come back to the Debar and celebrate Hooray.
Torah Rabba YAHUAH.
Torah Rabba YAHUAH about Sham Yahushua Mashiach. You see, this topic is a very special topic, and it is even important that we're going to give a series to such kind of topic. So we have a series of it, because what is actually destroying people today in this Sarat is because of these kinds of idol worship. Yeah, let's call it the way it is. It's an idol. You worship idol. The second commandment said, you must not bow down to any idol. Don't you know when you go bring that tree to your house, you are inviting demons into your home? You don't know. Yeah. You are inviting demons. Those are things that Ashatan using, coming in. The scripture says when you break an edge, the serpent will bite. So a lot of people, they are the ones that are inviting Ashatan directly to their own, with their own hands. And when Ashatan start to devour their wealth and everything, they will be crying, oh, what's happening? What's happening? It's you that caused it. And that is why the scripture has come to you. The message is coming to you today, that you should know the truth that will set you free. The traditions of men, they are passed it down to us. Yes, every one of us, we grew up in these settings, this program that Ashatan has programmed. But you have the opportunity right now to break yourself and your family out of it, because the truth only is what will set you free. You see, when you focus on what your forefathers have been doing and they pass down to you, at the end of the day, it will not benefit you anything. You will still lose your life, and you will have to wait for the eternal destruction at the end of time. You see, the scripture has already given us the ways to live, like what Brother Jay just said. We have a lot of activities for you to feast. The Shabbat day is the number one feast of this Arat, the 7th day of the week. Yahuwah gave us this day as a set apart day. Set it apart to celebrate Yahuwah, the life that Yahuwah has given to you, the breath of life that you have today. Celebrate it, so that when you walk on your own 6th day of the week, which is the day 1, day 2, day 3 to day 6 of the week, you will be living in joy and shalom all through. Then you will not come to the Shabbat again. Then the new moon is a day of, worshiping Yahuwah and celebrating also. You see? So a lot of activities are here for us to celebrate. And we're going to be taking advantage of them all.